I actually got to produce and direct an entire committee oversight hearing on a very public issue that became national news. And it was a hearing on the growing politicization of the Office of Surgeon General, the Public Health Service. It came about in a classic DC way. I had a free evening. There was a meeting of the Commissioned Officers Association of the U.S. Public Health Service, and the speaker that night was Dr. Carmona, who had just very recently basically been told that his services were no longer needed by the President of the United States. And he was not very happy about that. And he lit up the room complaining about how he had been interfered with, undermined, manhandled, told that he needed to say certain things and not other things, and all of his reports had to be vetted by political. It was just, and I'm sitting here going, oh my God, I haven't heard this kind of blunt talk in DC since I got here on a public health issue, the Surgeon General of the nation, clearly venting, and I'm looking around like there's got to be reporters running for the exit. There was not one reporter in the room. So I go back to the Oversight Committee staff and I said, I heard the most incredible talk last night. And they said, reach out to him, see if there's a possible way that this could make a really important hearing on the importance of respecting this office and what it needs to do. I got a hold of Rich. I had known him through a couple of mutual colleagues. He said, if I can get C. Everett Koop and David Satcher to do it with me, I'll do it. It came together that fast. So we had 3 of the modern Surgeon Generals in a hearing. C. Everett Koop, who at that point was frail, in a wheelchair, but just as smart as he ever was, just as stern as he ever was. David Satcher, who I called the Jedi Master, he was just smooth and clear, had directed the CDC. Now, Koop was served under a Republican administration, Satcher largely under Clinton and the Democratic administration. Now you had Carmona. And we went through each of them talking about experiences during their time as Surgeon General. And it was an arc of Koop focusing mainly on his report about AIDS to every American household. And he said only 3 people in the Department of Health and Human Services saw it before it went to cabinet the night before it was released. And that was extraordinary. And how the president backed him up totally. The second, Satcher starts talking about how, well, you need to be really careful. This needle exchange stuff is a problem. So it was clear that there was more awareness and, you need to shape your message for the administration. And then Carmona basically reprised his greatest hits from that dinner. They let me, having assembled the witnesses, written the briefing material for the members of Congress, et cetera, I was given the seat of honor, which is the staff behind the hearing, the committee up front. I'm right behind Chairman Waxman for the hearing, watching this unfold in front of us. And at the end of the hearing, the final moment, I leaned forward and I said, sir, you need to ask him about the Best Buddies program. And he turns around to me and says, why would I do that? We've been kicking their rear the whole hearing. And I said, it's worth it, trust me. Just one more, because they were about to wrap up. And he goes, Dr. Carmona, did you ever have any issues with the Best Buddies program? And Carmona lights up. This is a group that advocates for disabled kids, etc. He was supposed to go to their national meeting, and the political staff vetoed his trip. And the response that they gave him was, why would we do that? They don't vote for us anyway. And you could see reporters running to the exit at that point to make phone calls. And the hearing became national news, political cartoons, et cetera. Now, in the world of politics, did it change fundamentally the nature of the office? I wish it had. It's yet to happen. So we take our little wins where we can, but for me, to have helped produce, direct, and lead a hearing that made a real impact on the American people and brought to light an issue that's only gotten worse, both with politicization and now with disinformation, was a remarkable experience.